One of the most common things we hear is, I want to do something natural before I start testosterone. And I always ask the same question: what does natural actually mean to you? Because most of the time they think the answer is a supplement that they saw on social media. And the reality is, almost none of those supplements will move the needle the way that people think they will without proper care. Today, we're getting honest about what natural means when it comes to testosterone and what actually works. Let's dive into it. Welcome back to In the Gray Area with Rev Health. I'm Britni.
And I'm Travin. And today we're talking about basically the difference between testosterone boosters, like when people say, I want to increase my testosterone the natural way versus just actually taking testosterone. And to be honest, like this doesn't come up in my world like a ton. I think by the time most guys come to see us and I talk with them, like they're ready. They've
already probably tried it too.
Well, probably.
Yeah.
And they've come to us for a reason. But, I'd say, I don't know, maybe 10% of the time, honestly, 10% of the people that come, they will have a lot of hesitation and they'll want to they'll always use that. Like, well, I want to do it naturally. And I'm always kind of like what you said in your intro, like, what does that mean to you when you want to do it naturally?
And it is interesting because when we start asking them some of the things that they want to do, whether we always encourage diet and exercise. That's great. But is that really going to move the needle enough to where you're going to have optimal levels and feel good and get those even protective benefits?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's perfect. Like if you're a young guy, like, yes, that is the most natural thing you can do instead of all those stupid supplements that are like testosterone boosting supplements, like those are all garbage. And so when guys are like, want to take those, it's like, look, like optimize your sleep, your nutrition, your diet. Like those are the most natural things you can do to try to increase it.
And you have control over it too.
You have control over it. Yeah. Yeah. But if you have like a true deficiency, and I don't want to say this like all the time, but like if you have a true deficiency, if you're a young man, like you can try those things. And obviously like that's going to be the first go-to, like if you're a really young man. But a lot of times it doesn't get them to where they need to be most of the time.
And also you have to be extremely disciplined.
Yeah.
And that's really like hard for anybody, let alone like the younger generation, especially like in college and whatnot. So, I mean, they should be doing that. And we always promote that. But again, it's really hard. And we've seen that ourselves. We've seen like the young, I think we had one young guy that came in here. I mean, he actually looked super healthy.
Yeah.
His blood work showed it. He feels great. But that's extremely rare.
Yeah.
Even at his age.
Like I said, yeah, a lot of young guys, like I said, we had that kid, and I know you're talking about, and he was more or less, I think he knew that he's like healthy and good. He was like just really curious in his baseline level. But when we do get young guys that come in, a lot of times it's because they're really struggling with issues, right? Like they do have a true deficiency, and that's why they are here at such a young age. But we do see like our fair share of really like young men that are dealing with that kind of stuff. And it's, testosterone, but also thyroid is a huge one that we see. And I know we're not really talking about thyroid this episode, but that is a big issue that a lot of guys are dealing with.
Well, I also think that in regards to thyroid, they think that if they optimize other things, that it's going to help benefit that. And that's just something we don't see.
Yeah. And it would be nice, and it can help sometimes, but yeah, like I said, if it's like a true deficiency, a lot of times, like eventually they are going to get to the point of needing testosterone. I know, we like to use HCG a lot, like for younger guys. Like that's kind of like after the whole lifestyle stuff, that's kind of one of the first things we'll go to is HCG, because like we see pretty good results from that. I mean, it'll definitely raise levels, but it also usually translates into like symptom improvement, where a lot of these other drugs like Clomid or Enclomiphene, like they can do a great job of raising levels on paper, but it doesn't always translate to like the patient actually feeling better,
having better quality of life.
Yeah. Which is a lot of what like these supplements market, and going back to that. And it's like, they don't raise levels like nearly that much. I mean, it's marginal, but they do raise them some. And so that's how come they can market themselves as like, oh, increase testosterone levels, or we can raise testosterone levels, because they do, but it's very like, 80 points, 100 points, whatever it is, like that's not going to be enough to like move the needle on a guy.
Right. And I know for me, myself, like I'm watching TV, there's like ads that will pop up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, like what is in these pills that these people are claiming is going to increase your testosterone naturally?
They're usually, it's herbal based, right? There's all the different, there's a handful of like popular herbal supplements that that promote it.
Mhm.
And so I think it's usually just a couple or combination of these different herbs. Sometimes they'll use like vitamin D is one that they'll use sometimes, but it's again, none of them are enough to actually like translate into like results or feeling better or getting symptomatic improvement. It might move it a little bit on paper, but that's it.
Yeah, and I know that we've seen some men, and typically, like, I'm kind of like taken back by their age. Usually,
Yeah.
they're like even over 40, where it's like they're coming to us and they're like, I live a very healthy lifestyle, and
Mhm.
this is all I want to do. I don't want to like take this, and then I don't want to be committed to have to take it forever. And,
Yes.
it's very interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't get the whole waiting thing. Like if you're over 40, if you're done having kids, like to me, there's no reason why you would not take it if you need it. I mean, I think pretty much every man over 40 could benefit from it, but I mean, especially if you really need it, then I don't know why you wouldn't. Again, everyone's different and people have those reservations about like having to take something for life. And
Mhm.
again, we always talk about like you don't have to, but you're going to want to. Like you're
Mhm.
going to feel so much better. Like you're going to be like, no, I want to take this for the rest of my life. You know.
But in theory, when it comes to even these supplements, like you would have to keep continuing to take
Well,
these as well,
exactly.
and you're not going to
That's
get the benefits. And
that's exactly right. It's the exact same concept. Like you still have to you have to continue to take it to get the benefit. That's a really good point.
I know that we talked last episode about like bioidentical versus
Mhm.
compounded and
Yeah.
stuff. I think that that's really important too when we talk about natural,
Yeah.
is that people understand that bioidentical hormones mimic what our body naturally makes, like exactly.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I don't know how much more natural you can get.
That's a good point. That's how I look at it. And because like going back to like social media and it's some of these like online companies, they're very heavily marketing like enclomiphene. And basically like so enclomiphene is it basically like sits on the estrogen receptor in your brain. It tricks your body into thinking that it doesn't have enough estrogen. And so in return, it produces more testosterone to try to increase estrogen levels. But it's basically like you're tricking the body into increasing testosterone. And so like going back to your point, like, is that more natural by like trying to manipulate your estrogen receptors to
Right.
then create more testosterone versus just taking actually testosterone? Like which one is more natural? Because I always go to like take the thing that you want to increase. Like
Right.
that's the most direct, natural way to do it.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people really have a hard time wrapping their head around that, because I know that even like recently we've had a few patients that have wanted to take other things that will, like precursors and stuff
Yeah.
like that for different things. And,
Yeah.
And I agree completely with you, but I've also like already gone down the rabbit hole. I've
Mhm.
already tried all the millions of supplements, and I understand like that it barely moves that needle.
Mhm.
And also people don't really understand that, by the time you're taking these supplements, which by the way are not FDA approved, which people
Yeah.
tend to be worried about,
Yeah.
but you're taking them that you're
Mhm.
probably not getting what it says on
Mhm.
there. And also you're maybe only absorbing like 8 to 10% of it.
Yeah.
So there's a huge difference between
Mhm.
taking a supplement and taking a bioidentical hormone.
Yeah, big difference. I mean, like I said, I mean, unless there's some reason with like fertility or age or something like that,
There's
it
still
is the
other
most.
options.
It is, yeah, it is the
than-
most natural way. Like I would, I'm like I said, I'm a big fan of using HCG for like those young guys instead of like the enclomiphene and Clomid. And so, I said it earlier, but it's really strange how like we can take a guy that let's say he has like a 400 testosterone and we could put him on enclomiphene, and I've seen it like it can triple, right? He could be probably 1,000, 1,200 total testosterone from enclomiphene, but he doesn't really feel that much better. Like that's the weird thing about some of
Right.
these serms. It's like they increase the number on paper, but then the guy, it doesn't translate as well. And I don't know why. Like I don't know how to explain that. Like some guys do, like they'll report like improvement, but like some of them just don't. It's very interesting.
But interesting enough, like sometimes they move labs just enough to make people think that, oh, this is helping it.
Yeah.
It's moving it, and we'll hear people be like, oh, I was 380. Now I'm like 490.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
understanding that it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah.
And really, most men are not feeling good until their testosterone levels are over 1,000, but it's not even about their total. It's more about their free testosterone. So there's
Mhm.
so many things. It's so much more complex than
Yeah.
taking labs, taking these supplements, and then doing your labs again.
Yep. And I'd say even, a lot of guys that are suboptimal testosterone and dealing with like signs and symptoms of low testosterone, like they even need, 1,500, 2,000 to feel great. And so like when you really look at that and you look at, like you said, like something going from like 400 to like 580, like that's really not going to make much of a difference at all to the guy.
Yeah, maybe you can explain a little bit like why we prefer using HCG, like
Yeah.
in younger men
So,
especially.
so the main thing is that honestly, just like the outcomes, like I see like guys improve so much better in terms of just like their, like how they feel, right? It's more of a symptomatic improvement versus like the SERMs, like Enclomiphene. And so like what I mentioned, like Clomid and Clomiphene, what they do earlier, they kind of sit on the estrogen receptor, trick
Right.
your body into producing more testosterone. It basically stimulates like more LH-FSH production. The HCG kind of mimics luteinizing hormone specifically. So it basically like stimulates the testicles directly to produce testosterone. And so I think it could have something to do with just like that intratesticular production, and like the whole process is causing them to actually feel better than like the SERMs do. But it's just, that's my main reason for using it, is just the outcomes seem to be so much better. Side effects seem to be so much less.
But it is something also that we know is proven to help with fertility and maintaining fertility as well.
So yeah, I mean, that is the main reason we typically use it. Like we have some younger guys that, like I said, we just use HCG monotherapy to increase testosterone, but mainly we utilize it for fertility alongside of actual testosterone. And so, and we've had 100% success rate in using it for that reason. And so like it works fantastic when you're using it correctly. I think a lot of times it's underdosed when people try to do that because it is expensive. And so, people try to save money, but you really have to kind of use like the appropriate dosing.
And we've seen that
to get it to work. And that's another reason why some of these places market like Enclomiphene so much, because it's so cheap. It is so cheap. And so it's nothing for them. They mark it up big time, whereas you can't really mark up HCG that much because it's already so expensive. Like no one's going to pay those prices for it. If you try to like mark it up the same as you do in Clomiphene.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the biggest question is like, at what point, like, is it that testosterone is necessary? And I think that going back to everything we talked about, like diet, exercise, everything that goes hand in hand that you have control over, like if you're doing all the right things, but you're not feeling better, that's a clear indication that you need some extra help.
Yeah. I'd say, if fertility is not a concern and you are dealing with signs and symptoms of low testosterone, there's no reason you shouldn't use testosterone. Even if fertility is a concern, like as long as you're taking the appropriate steps, then again, if you can't achieve like symptomatic improvement with diet, lifestyle, and then the, like HCG type interventions, then like using testosterone would be a decision like I would personally make. And again, that's up to the individual. But if you're like suffering or you're not feeling good, like why wouldn't you want to like optimize yourself and go through life like feeling as best as you can? And then like we always talk about the long-term like health aspects of it. And so like if you actually do have low testosterone and you're dealing with like some of the negative like cardiovascular type stuff that comes with it, like you're going to want to correct that as soon as possible, because the longer you leave it untreated, like the worse off it's going to be down the road and the more risk you're going to have.
And that goes back to even like people coming to us and asking like, am I too young? And even at 50 years old, we hear, am I too young? I don't want to do this forever. Understanding again, those protection and preventative benefits that are huge. And I mean, I talk about it all the time that's like part of my main reason for wanting to do it. So I just wish that more people were aware of the health benefits that come from it versus like being so worried about taking something that they still are viewing as like a medication, and especially for men.
Yeah. Again, like everyone's different. And we've talked about this so much that like our mindset is optimizing and we'd rather feel as good as possible. And like, I'm not worried about taking something forever. Like I look at it as like, I hope I get to like, I want to take this forever because it does so many like great things for me.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Everyone looks at that differently.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say like people should even understand how natural like testosterone or bioidentical testosterone is too, because that seems to be such a huge fear.
Yeah. And I think even, some people like whatever the stigma still exists with like the injections for some reason, like they view it as like this, like synthetic
steroid,
like bad, type of thing. But it's like, I know the new, there's like the new oral testosterone that's been marketed for like a lot the last couple of years. And it's just, it's we know it's not very effective. Like, it's not very effective. It doesn't get levels that high enough. But I mean, if that's something you want to use, fine. But like, you should know, like, whether it's an oral capsule, whether it's a cream, whether it's injection, whether it's a pellet, like, it's all the same bioidentical testosterone molecule.
Right.
The only difference is how it's delivered into your system. So it's all the same thing. So I think people just look at injections as like, there's just view it differently, like the stigma. So whatever, like we talk about all the time, we're big fans of cream. We use injections a lot. So, I mean, whatever achieves the best result that you can be consistent with is the best outcome, but there's no one that's more natural or more safe than the other.
Yeah. I think this is really good for a lot of people because I know we have a lot of people coming to us that are struggling, but there's so many people out there that are struggling, that are scared, you know, to even talk about doing bioidentical hormones or taking testosterone. So, and I know we're talking about testosterone in general, but like, it's still like women don't even understand the importance of testosterone. And like, when we're talking about it, they're already scared enough to be taking, you know, things like estradiol and progesterone and stuff like that. And then you throw in testosterone and it's like,
well, the cool thing with women is like how they're, at least like in our eyes, like the whole, like the age thing isn't really as much of a factor as it is in men, you know, because like men, like we have to be really careful with young men and we have to because of fertility and things like that. But like women, we don't really have to worry about that as much, you know, like both of your young daughters are on testosterone and they love it. And it's like, it's, you know, for women, it does so many good.
They're adults.
Well, yes. You don't want people thinking like your teenage daughters. No, they are adults, but I mean, they're young relative to like,
we wouldn't put a 20-year-old boy on.
Exactly. So, but anyways, what I'm saying is like, there's so many benefits as we talk about, like same as guys, that it's really cool to have like young women that need it, that we always like, that are very insulin resistant and are dealing with things that it helps so much with. Like, it's cool to be able to use it as a good tool.
More than anything, I totally understand the natural thing. That's always been my thing. But I would really encourage people to do their own research and look into what that actually means. And what they feel comfortable with.
And it's just like, I think it gets so overplayed on social media with like natural, and a lot of it's like marketing. But again, testosterone is very natural. It's just, you know, what is the right time for you as the individual to use it?
Well, I think this is great. I think there's a lot of helpful information that will hopefully help a lot of people. But, you know, like always, if you have any questions, please reach out to us at support@rev.health. We want to thank you for joining us today. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.